And in that moment, I said, oh no. And he sat down and I knelt in front of him, just as you would genuflect in church.
Mm.
And as I did, he put his hands out to my head to kiss me. And in that instant, he turned into Jesus. I was being
I
hugged
got goosebumps.
by Jesus.
Welcome to Conversation for the Soul. I'm Linda Christine. Today I talk with Pam Lord, and Pam is a dear friend of mine. She was my Theta teacher back in 2017, taught me basic Theta healing and advanced Theta healing, and I just love her energy. This woman is the embodiment of joy and living life to the fullest. And the really cool thing about Pam is, and it's a great lesson for all of us, she started doing all this at 62. She's now 78. And you will never know that by looking at her, but she doesn't mind me telling you how old she is either, because she just lives a youthful life from the heart. And it's so amazing. We talk about some really cool stuff related to Theta healing today. She talks about how she met Jesus. She actually met Jesus. This is so cool. We talk about pets when they're ready to transition and all of that. And then at the end, she's got a special offer for everyone too, which is so amazing and so generous of her. So take a listen. But first, please like, share, subscribe. Like, share, subscribe. This is how we get people to hear these cool stories and see these amazing people that are doing transformative things on our planet. It's uplifting, and the stories are the way we teach. So please like, share, subscribe. And if you have a couple bucks, that'd be cool too. Just want you to know I fund all this myself. I have monthly costs, I have yearly costs, because I don't want to put advertising on this. I want it to be ad-free, interrupted free. So I do take donations. If you would like to do so, you can find that information below as well. Now, let's get going and talk to Pam. Welcome, Pam. It's so nice to have you here today. How are you?
Oh, it is such a gift to be in your presence, really. I'm fine. I'm fine.
You are, do you know that it's been since 2017 since we first met?
Holy moly.
Yeah.
No.
For those
Yeah.
that don't know, Pam was my Theta teacher. She taught me Theta healing.
Yes. And look where you've, oh my gosh, look where you're going.
Yeah, well, it's just so amazing how it all unfolds for everybody. And I'd love for you to share a little bit about your story with everyone. What led you into Theta healing? What kind of got you out of being a normie, so to speak?
Well, I've had many different careers in my lifetime. And the last one that I was the director of admissions of a small college in Massachusetts, small career education school. And I always had the feeling that I was supposed to be doing more, even though I was very successful in each of my careers that I've pursued. And I can remember just wondering, what is it? And I've been on a spiritual path, but hadn't really gone into the what I call the woo-woo stuff. And I had a career that I allowed them to make me feel that if I wasn't there, the school was going to close. I had a lot of pressure on me.
Mm.
So I only had 2 weeks off vacation a year. And my grandchildren at the time three of them lived in San Diego, and I have three grandchildren that lived in Rhode Island. I was in Massachusetts at the time. And in order for me to even see my grandchildren in California, be in a school play or a game, let's say, I would leave my class on my office on a Friday evening, fly to San Diego, and then on Sunday at noontime, leave San Diego, fly back to Massachusetts to be in my office at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Mm.
And so in October of 2007, I was flying out to San Diego to see my grandson, who was a senior in high school, play his homecoming game in football. And I knew he wasn't going to play in college, and I wanted to be at that game on that Saturday evening. But on that flight out, I begged God. I'm not beneath begging. And I said, I know you have a plan for me. I was in a meditation, and I said, I don't know what the heck it is. I know I'm supposed to be doing something else. And at that time, I was 62 years old. And I said, please, you know, you have to hit me over the head. I do not take subtleties. So hit me over the head. And I don't have much time left. And that's about all I did, you know. So anyway, went out to California. Monday morning, I'm at my desk, and I received a phone call from a woman who was head of the legal department of this huge jewelry company in Rhode Island. And she was burnt out, stressed out. And she wanted to come to our school to see if we had a program that would fit into a career change that she was looking for. And I said, her name is Maura Casey. And I said, Maura, I have 9:30 tomorrow morning open. She says, that's going to be perfect. So at 9:30 on Tuesday, this woman came into my office. And after about 10 minutes of conversation, I realized what she was looking for, we didn't offer at our school. And I told her, you know, what you're looking for, we don't have it here. And she said, I know, my spirit guides told me to come see you. And I'm like, holy moly. And I remembered my conversation with God on Friday evening.
Mm.
And so she says, I think you have a message for me. And that thought came to me, you just asked God on Friday. This is ridiculous. And I said, well, maybe you have a message for me. Let's chat. And so we're chatting, and she said, my theta healer. Now, I had never heard that term before. I had never, ever heard it. I didn't know what it was. But when those syllables, my theta healer, came to me, it was as if you had told a 5-year-old that Santa was in the next room. I had that feeling of, and I said, I need the name. I didn't know if it was a person, a cat, a dog. I didn't know what it was, but I knew I needed to find out. And so she said, I'll have her name, but her contact information, I'll email you. I checked my emails all day. No, Wednesday, finally, she emailed me the contact information. I was so excited. I called the person right away. And I had my first theta healing session on the following Saturday, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Now, I really didn't know what to expect. I wasn't blown away. You know, I was just sitting there, but I knew something happened to me. It was so subtle, but I knew I was different. And on the way home, it was a country road in Massachusetts, in Lakeville, Massachusetts. And as it's one section of the road, the trees formed an archway. And it was glorious October, where the leaves were beautiful shades of reds and golds. And as I went under that archway, I heard, as though there was someone sitting next to me, this is who you are. This is who you are. This is who you are. And on the third, this is who you are, tears were streaming down my cheeks. I was not crying, but tears were just streaming down my cheeks. And I had goosebumps, and I knew, whoa, I'm different. So now I have an education, back, and I'm thinking, well, great, this is who I am. There must be some training or something. And anyway, I went back to my home and looked up theta healing, and I couldn't find anything. Then finally I found Vianna Steibel was the founder of theta healing in Idaho Falls, and she taught this, and it's a 3-day class. for the basic in Idaho Falls. And I'm thinking, there's no way I can go to Idaho. I'm lucky I could even get out to San Diego to see my grandchildren, let alone take this time. And then I checked Massachusetts and there was absolutely nothing. Now this is 2007. And then I went, just, okay, God, if this is who I am, show me. And then I heard check Rhode Island, and I checked Rhode Island. And sure enough, there was a Theta Healing practitioner who was teaching the basic class the following week. And I took that 3-day class, and my life has changed exponentially since then.
Mm.
That's how it started.
Can you put your finger on, I mean, and it's all so mystical the way it unfolded for you, but can you put your finger on what were some of the aha moments that you had during that first basic class that you took?
Oh my goodness. The basic class shifted all my thinking upside down. And I had spent time, energy, money in my past going to different workshops on success and getting ahead and all these different workshops, and spent lots of money on, in those days, the cassettes, standing in line, getting the book that I purchased to be autographed by the speaker. And I would come home feeling so pumped that, aha, I've got the answer. And then after maybe 3 or 4 days, I'd get back into my funk.
Mm.
With Theta Healing, it was different because I found, or I was taught, that we hold beliefs on 4 different levels in our DNA. And that was the crux of that basic class, that the different levels that we carry beliefs on were holding me back. They weren't aligning with what I felt was the best for me. And that to me was the biggest aha moment of, it was like I found the golden ticket. Oh, this is why I didn't buy into the fact that I could be successful, because my ancestors never believed it. I had carried that in my DNA. And when I shifted it, I felt different. The world hadn't changed, but my perception of the world totally changed. I had a good life in Massachusetts. I had a very good life. But since Theta Healing, my life is magical. I live a magical life. I'm 78 years old. I don't even feel it. I don't act it. It's just,
You certainly don't look it.
and it's like, holy cannoli. People say, oh, you're living your dream, Pam. I went, no, no, no. My dreams were never this big. Since Theta Healing, my life has changed so much for the better. I mean, it's like I pinch myself. It's a wonder I'm not all black and blue, because I constantly say, I can't believe this is happening. I can't believe I do this. And it's so awesome.
Now, what happened around you? So, okay, you go to this class, you decide, okay, this is me. I'm a Theta healer. And you want to just keep going and keep going. What is everybody around you doing? What are your kids saying? What's your spouse saying? What are they like? Oh no, Pam's gone crazy.
Well, let's see. Okay, the first person who my children were were adults at that time. One lived in San Diego, so I really didn't have the interaction right at that moment with them. But my boss, the president of the school, who knows, Pam never takes a day off. And I went and said, I'm taking Friday off and Saturday. And they're like, oh, what are you doing? I said, I don't know. Like, I'm taking a class. About what? I said, I don't know. And so they were shocked that, oh, of course, take this time. So as soon as I arrived at my office on Monday morning after that class, the president came, Pam, tell me about this class that you took. And I said, well, I really can't explain it. It's so amazing. I said, but let me show you. And in that class, we learned how to send unconditional love from the creator or God or universe. It's not a religion. It encompasses all religions and all spiritual beliefs, but you have to have a basic fundamental belief in a higher power. Okay. It has nothing to do with any religion. So I said, can I show you? And she said, yes. So I asked the higher power, creator, to send unconditional love to this person. It only took like a minute, less than a minute. And when I opened my eyes, she had tears streaming down her cheeks. And she says, oh my gosh, I've never, ever felt that before. So that was my first experience, my first, say, client. Okay. And so that really shocked me, because, the day before it was just, whoa, I'm learning this. And then the next thing I said, I also learned how to send healing, asking creators to send healing to a person. Do I have your permission to do that? And she said, yes. And she closed her eyes, and there's a command or a saying that you say, a prayer. It's very short. And I said that prayer, and I witnessed healing go to her. And I said, oh, Mary, a lot of healing went to your right knee. Does that make sense? And she looks at me and eyes wide as saucers and said, oh my gosh, I almost didn't come into work today. Says I was walking Cooper, which was her dog, in the woods behind the house, and I twisted my leg and my knee was killing me. She stood up and she said, oh my God, Pam, the pain is totally gone. This was my first experience, other than the class, of witnessing what Theta Healing was about. I'm not the healer. Creator's the healer, God, universe, whatever word you want to use. You're taught that you're the witness. And that's the quantum physics side of Theta Healing, is witnessing the energy. And so that really gave me confidence as a brand new Theta Healer practitioner. So about 20 minutes later, there was a knock on my door, and I come in, and it was the head of our financial aid department. He says, Pam, Mary said I should come see you.
You're just lining them up out your door already.
Yep, that's how it started. You ask about my children, they don't get it. They're not, and that's the one thing that's not frustrating. In the beginning, it was, I just don't talk about it really with my family. They don't understand. And it's not that they don't care. It's just, it's not for them. It's not for them. And that's fine,
Sometimes that's hard for people to understand that, because they take it personal and they feel like they're excited. Everyone should be excited. It's like when you first wake up and realize all these cool things are out there.
Yes. And it's so cool because I've taught over 260 classes and taught over I think almost 1,400 students. And I tell my students, you're going to be so excited when you leave this class, and you're going to go home and you want to share it with all your family. And don't be surprised that they're not going to understand, and don't be hurt. And I was saying they couldn't, I could see that they think, oh yeah, well, my sister could really use this, or my brother, I can't wait. And in one class I was teaching, it was in Indiana, and Creator is awesome. He showed me a dog. I was shown a dog whistle. I went, dog whistle. And then this information just came to me. When I'm talking Theta Healing to people who don't, it's like a dog, they don't even see your lips moving. And so when I blow a dog whistle, I don't hear it, but I'll then hear all these dogs, woof, 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 woof. They hear it. And that was, from that day on, that's how I explained to my class that the family isn't ignoring you. They don't hear it.
Yeah.
They don't hear it, which is really cool.
It is. I mean, if it's meant for you, it'll unfold for you.
Yes. And is it for everybody? No. That's why all these modalities are incredible. Some people gravitate to one or another or another. We need them all. One isn't better than another. And it's
Yeah.
so, I just feel so blessed that I have this healing modality in my tool belt. Actually, it's the only one in my tool belt, but it's awesome. It's an awesome lifestyle.
Well, for me, it was super helpful in just opening up more of my awareness and knowing that I don't have to just talk to angels or spirit guides. I go straight to the big guy.
Yes.
Just go right to source and connect with
Yes.
source, and that's what I think is so beautiful about theta healing. You can just get into that glorious space.
Yes. And it's so simple but so magnificent. And that's why a lot of people go, oh, it can't work because it's so simple. And just connect with source. It's so freeing. For me, it's freedom. I never have a decision that I worry about because I just connect and ask, is this for my highest and best good? And if I get a yes or a no, I follow it.
Yeah.
I don't ever question. Sometimes I question, like, maybe I didn't ask it right. Okay, let me go back. Creative, is this for my but yes, and so it's so freeing to live in this theta healing mode, I guess I'd call it.
Yeah, you're really in the flow. You're just, letting the universe support you and take you. Because I know
Yes,
you always talked about, and a lot of us in this community talk about, well, there's no money right now, but then all of a sudden the money comes the next day and you're like, I'm always going to be supported. You
yes.
just have to really trust and lean into that.
And to what I found, the negative self-talk, getting that limits so many people. Just says that there's no money, right? And instead of saying that, so the person who says, oh, there's no money, that's what they're going to create. The universe affects us the way we send out our thoughts or our vibrations. So I always say, I have plenty, I have plenty, I have plenty. I don't put a number on it. I have plenty, and it's always there. I don't worry. But I don't just sit back and say, okay, bring it to me. No, I say, creator, I'm willing to do the work. I'm
Yes.
willing to step up to the plate. Show me by stepping up to the plate. I'm willing to do classes. I'm willing to do this. And I book my class, and then creator fills them. This is what I ask, though. I don't want anybody in my class. I ask for a creator to send me people I like, my soul family, people who honor this modality. I don't want someone, and I'm not, it makes the classes more exciting.
Yeah.
And so the right people come. And as soon as they come, they have this sensation, and I have the same feeling with them, that I know you. They say, I know you. I said, yes. And I now realize it's because I've called in my soul family. And it's awesome. When I first met you, I knew you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we still do. And I just seeing you, right now, it's like, oh, a hug. Like, it's like, oh, I have goosebumps because it's family, and
Yeah.
it's a great feeling.
I'll never forget that first session I had with you. There were so many things that happened that were very profound for me. The first being, I actually slept through the night that night, which hadn't happened to me in a long time. But I remember at the end of the session, you told me Jesus was coming up and I think standing over my right shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
And he put his hand on my shoulder and I could feel it. And he was saying to me, he didn't want me to forget about him. And that hit me hard. You can be spiritual, and I was spiritual, but I had not kept Jesus in the equation for so long.
Mhm.
Jesus was very important to me growing up in the Catholic Church. And I always felt like I had a relationship with him. But then he fell to the wayside when Catholicism fell to the wayside for me. Not that I put the two together, but it just happened.
Sure.
And it was so
Yeah.
profound for me. It's so simple, but so profound.
Yes. And we're not psychics. I wouldn't say I'm a psychic. I'm just witnessing what creator chooses to do for my client at that time. For me personally, I never ask my clients why they're there. Because I mean, if someone gave me a litany of reasons, I'd be like, well, I can't do that. Because I would think, oh my gosh, I'm the
Yeah.
healer. I'm gonna do this. But when you realize that you're just the witness, and it takes the onus off of you of thinking you have to do this healing. No. And in Theta Healing, we're taught we don't have an attachment to the outcome. A lot of people don't heal because they possibly don't want to, for whatever reason. Their illness serves them. And um, but I also know that everyone who sits in front of me gets a healing, but not everyone gets healed. Everyone, no, everyone who sits in front of me gets a healing, but not everyone is cured. A cure is different from a healing. And so I I didn't really understand that until, see, I get put in situations that creator has to show me. I have to be shown. Okay. And so I was asked by a person emailed me a few years ago and asked if I could cure her husband. That was it. Can you cure my husband with Theta Healing? And so I emailed back, are you looking for an in-person session or phone session? She says, oh, it would have to be in person. Now, this was a Friday morning. And I said, okay, well, I was teaching a class on Saturday and Sunday. So I said, I can be there Monday. Where do you live? I thought she'd lived right there. She says, I live in Bartow. Well, Bartow is a distance from me.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not one that just gets in my car and drives to a stranger's home. Okay. And so she said, Monday will be too late. The doctors gave him a weekend to live.
Mm.
And I could go today. And so I said, well, I can be there today. And I heard 11. I just heard at 11. She said, that'll be perfect. So I asked for the address and I felt almost like a robot getting up and getting showered, getting dressed. When I was driving in my car, it was like someone else was at the wheel, to be honest with you. I
Mm.
don't go, I'm not good at going to strange places on the highway, etc. And so when it would become time to go to the exit, like my car would just automatically go into the right lane and just found the house without any consternation or fear. Knocked on the door. And she looked at me, she says, oh, you look just like your picture. I said, excuse me? She says, yes, I went on the Theta Healing website and I contacted over 5 Theta healers, and you're the only one that responded, but I knew you would. I went, oh. So when I went into the home, her husband was sitting in a recliner. Actually, he was laying back in a recliner. And to be honest with you, it looked like he had already passed. He was like that oatmeal gray color, and his eyes were closed. And I said, hi, how are you? My name is Pam. And then I said, I'm here to do a Theta Healing session for you. I have no idea what it's going to be about. And but I'm looking forward to seeing what Creator has in store for you. And then I heard, first send unconditional love to his wife. The caregiver, see, the caregivers need it almost more than the patient, because the patient is getting everything they can get, the caregiver. So I said, first of all, I'd like to have Creator send unconditional love and healing. So thank you. Then I did the same thing with Ron. And then Creator, through the different things, was showing me, she asked, at one point said, I ask if he's ready to forgive his father. Now his eyes are closed. And I said, "Are you ready to forgive your father?" God. And I heard a gasp, but it was from his wife who was sitting across. And then he just shook his head and he went, "Yes." And so I just witness creator, downloading to him unforgiveness or whatever. When I opened my eyes, he was looking at me and he was like from the side all the time. And his eyes, his face was like rosy cheeks. That color was gone. That awful, like an oatmeal gray color had left his face, and he had rosy cheeks. So we finished the session. There were more things that occurred. And when I said goodbye, his wife got up off the couch and gave me a hug. The session was about 45 minutes. And we heard that the recliner motion of when a person's trying to sit up, that motion. And she goes, "Oh, Ron, what are you trying to do?" He says, "I want to get up and give Pam a real hug." And in that moment, I said, "Oh, no." And he sat down and I knelt in front of him, just as you would genuflect in church.
Mm.
And as I did, he put his hands out to my head to kiss me. And in that instant, he turned into Jesus. I was being hugged
I got goosebumps.
by Jesus. And tears filled my eyes. And then in the next instant, he was back to him. I don't even think every time I tell a story, my hairs are standing up. I'm all goosebumps.
I am too.
Every time I tell that story, the same thing happens. Now, when I was coming home, I don't even think the tires of I think I floated home. Who got the healing? I got a huge healing. And I'm telling my class the next day, I said, I just have to share what happened to me yesterday. I stepped out of my comfort zone. I said, yes, see, when we do the work, things happen. And so as I'm telling them this story, and I always have my phone off, but this time I didn't. And my phone rang and I looked and I saw it was the wife. I went, "Oh my gosh, this is the person that I'm talking to you about." And I said, "I'm taking this call." And they, "Oh, yes." And I knew she was probably telling me that Ron passed in his sleep, but he had a lot of healing. He had a lot of healing that day. Was he cured? No. But he could he could transition and go on without carrying all this negative energy that he had. And so she says, "Hi, Pam." I said, "This is someone." And I said, "Yes." And she says, "I don't know how to tell you this, but Ron got up and made coffee for me this morning. He's walking around the kitchen making breakfast." He says, "He hasn't done that in 2 months." And so he didn't pass that weekend, nor any. I think she emailed me a while after, and it was like 8 months later.
Wow.
So
Mm.
so cool, huh? It's just so these are experiences that I'm so blessed to have. But that was a great way to show me what everyone who sits in front of you gets a healing, but not everyone is cured.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
the story that goes with that statement. But
But let's say he did pass, though. I mean, what if that was his sole purpose as a soul to come to this planet and be able to forgive his brother? And let's say he would have passed and not been able to do that.
yeah,
That would have been,
huge,
yeah.
huge.
So,
Yes, I
and then the
know.
weight of that and what it did to him to make him be able to get better so fast.
Yes, yes. He
That's
wasn't totally
amazing.
cured, but he was walking around the kitchen the next day making
Oh
his.
yeah, how exciting.
Yeah, and that's just one of the many, many, many
Tell me
experiences.
another one. I love these stories.
Oh, creator, show me which one. Ah, man. I'll tell you about mine. I had a session with a person, and this is when I was first moved here. And this beautiful, beautiful woman, Emily Rivera, she's a she lived in the St. Pete area, and she is an angel guide, and she calls in. She's very gifted, and she wanted a session, and I'm like, oh my gosh, Emily's going to come. She's going to want a session. I was nervous. I was really nervous, and I had a client before her session, and I was rushing around. I needed to eat something. My stomach was growling. And I said, I don't want my stomach to growl. And I'm doing a session with Emily. And she's coming with Kuan Yin and Jesus and all these guides that she has and just calls in. And so I went. So I decided to have a piece of toast with peanut butter. Okay. I put my toast in the toaster, my bread in the toaster oven. Don't wait long enough for it to go. I stuck my finger in to get the slice of bread out. And my finger, my index finger, got burnt on the heating coil.
Mm.
I'm like, oh my God. Oh. In a few seconds, I saw every stage of a burn go through and heal. So then I just had a brown spot, a brown square rectangle on the top of my index finger. And I heard, you're not the healer. Get over it. And in that
Wow.
instant, I had an energy of peace come over me. And I had to be reminded. And that's how Creator reminded me that I'm just
Wow.
a witness.
Yes, you're a
Yeah, it
beautiful
was,
conduit.
yes. I just, oh, it's so that will always stick with me.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, this guy wants some Pam energy. He just
Ah.
came in here to say hello.
Hello.
And you do the pet thing too, which is neat. I'll never forget when my daughter's beloved corgi, oh my God, I love that dog so much. She was getting ready to transition and you connected with her. It was
Yes.
so amazing.
And she was ready to go.
Yeah. Yeah,
She
you
just,
said that they all are. You said that, share
yes,
that because, there's so many people so in love with their animals out there, and
I
it's the
know.
hardest thing right now because so many animals are transitioning right now.
Yes. Well, we were shown that animals they already know their next assignment. And I can only share and I don't own an animal. I used to when my children were small. I don't have an animal. It's not that I don't love animals. I don't love animals. I like them. I don't want to own one. Okay. So anyway, this one person, this is a cool story. This one person contacted me regarding her friend. And she says, my friend is really upset because she doesn't know whether she should put her dog down, and her dog is very sick, and it's like her child. Says, could you check in and see what the dog should do? And I'm like, oh my gosh, okay. And so I checked in with the dog, and the dog was ready to go. And then I saw a boy running in a field, and but I was looking like the boy looked like he was 4, that age. And all this grass. And I see the boy running, but the little boy's not running afraid. He's looking back over his shoulder and laughing. And I see the boy's belt. And I realize I'm looking through the dog's eyes. The
Mm.
dog is chasing the little boy. And then the information comes like a flow of knowledge. Just it's a flow. In a second, you get all this information. And the dog is showing me he loves grass, and he's going to be a comfort dog to this little boy. And he can't wait. And he's so looking forward to be with this little boy. and he loves grass. And they say she's going to get another dog. It's not going to be a puppy. She doesn't like puppies. And the dog's name is going to be, and I saw the letter M-A-R, and it looked like an I and an O. And I went, in my mind, Mario, and my head went, no. And then it went M-A-R, and then what I thought was an I went long, so it was an L and an O. And I said, Marlo, and my head nodded yes. And I was shown, look at his eyes, tell her to look at his eye, the dog's eyes, and she'll know the dog. And so that happened in less than a minute. So I waited and waited about 15 minutes before I called the person, because I figured they're not going to think I did anything, to be honest with you. And so I'm just trying to find the text message. I told her, I said, take this with a grain of salt, but this is what Kaylee's ready to go. She's going to be a comfort dog. And the woman's crying and saying, well, there's so many others. Why she's my comfort? Why can't it? And so I just say, I don't know, because I don't know. And so I said, you're going to get another dog, but it's not going to be a puppy. She says, no, I would never want a puppy. I don't like puppies. And I said, the dog's name is going to be Marlon. Now just take this with a grain of salt. This is what I'm getting. But, and so I gave her all that information. About 6 months later, I get a text from her, and she's saying, do you remember me? You told me about a dog. She says, I have missed Kaylee so very much, but I kept remembering you said to wait and you'll see it, there'll be a dog named Marlo, and I'd know by its eyes. And she says, I am in the process of adopting a dog tomorrow named Marlo. She has the exact same eyes and temperament as Kaylee. Oh. She was to be euthanized, and I am saving her life. Can't make this stuff up.
Oh,
yeah.
Love that yes. So much.
Yes. So that's one of my many pet stories that I have.
So would you be able to, help me remember, I don't remember if this is possible or not, but can you do a theta healing for the collective? Can you do something now to share with everybody who's watching at any time?
I can send unconditional love. We can send unconditional love, which is the most powerful healing to everyone. And so everyone who's just there listening, if you just take a deep breath in through your nose and exhale through your mouth, and another deep breath in through your nose and exhale through your mouth. And one more. Now I'm going to ask Creator, God, Universe, to send unconditional love to every cell in your body. Thank you. There you go. Some of you may have felt a peace go through you. Creator gave a peace. And that's a powerful healing. So simple, but very powerful.
It is, and so very needed right now.
Yes.
So if you could, wave your magic wand, what do you think the world needs more than anything right now? And I know there's lots of things.
Having our people, ourselves, love ourselves. And when you can love yourself and stop being so judgmental of yourself, stop being so critical of yourself, and start loving yourself, that ripple effect will just go out further and further and further. So it just starts loving yourself, loving forgiving yourself. Stop living in the past. Live in the now.
Like that guy Ron you just spoke of, holding on to that.
Yes.
Let go, let
It's
go.
easier said than done. But when you start loving yourself, caring about you, and I don't mean being selfish, there's a big difference. It's just stop being so critical of yourself. Stop being so judgmental of yourself.
Yeah.
And knowing how valuable you are and how valued you are, then everything else falls into place. The person in front of cuts in front of you, okay, go ahead, you want to go, that's okay. And
Yeah, pay it forward.
yes, that's the only thing that I could think of. That's simple to say, not as simple to do in a lot of ways, because we're so programmed. You're not good enough, you're not pretty enough, you're too old, you're too young, whatever. Stop it. Stop the stinking thinking,
Yeah.
the limiting, the
Hit the
limiting
heart.
chatter. The limiting chatter that we have going on in our heads. Stop it. It's not truth. Yes.
So, my dear, if anyone is looking to connect with you, I will post your information below, but please do share verbally what you have going on, any classes, where they can find you.
They can find me at pamlord.com. That's my webpage. I have classes ongoing. I have the first place they would start would be a basic theta healing class. And I also do sessions in person and over the phone. And that's about it. Very simple to
Yeah.
find me.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
you do classes all over the country, not just
Yes.
in Florida.
Yes. In fact, I'll be flying to San Antonio week after next, teaching more classes there. And it's fun, so exciting.
Yeah.
And it's an amazing, amazing, amazing technique, meditation technique
Mm.
that changes people's lives, especially your own, especially
It
your own.
is. It is. I would just say for anybody just thinking, I might like that, try it. It's pretty cool.
Yes, yes, yes. And my sessions are 125 an hour. But if you mentioned that you had heard about me on this podcast, I'm gifting you a $50 gift certificate. So your session would
Ooh,
be 75.
that's a big deal. Wow. That's
This,
nice. Everybody run now, go.
yes.
All right, my
Yeah.
dear. I so
Well,
appreciate you coming
oh,
on today.
I'm so excited for you and all the beautiful things that you're doing and changing the world. You're doing it in your way. And it's so beautiful how everything is just coming full
Yeah,
circle for everyone.
creator is magical.
Yeah. Blessings and abundance to all of you who are listening.
Yes, yes. Thank you, everyone. Bye bye.